Hi, this is Slayster, and you're watching a video about going to the moon in new Tekkit. First, a quick warning. You have possibly seen videos online showing people visiting multiple planets and driving around in moon buggies. However, at the time of recording this video, those features are only available in a private development build and are not actually available in Tekkit. Currently, you can build yourself a rocket which can take you to the moon or to your own created space station. Other features will be coming in later patches, and I will make a video covering new features once they are available. To go to the moon, you are going to need two main things. The first will be a rocket to get you there, and the second will be breathing apparatus to keep you alive once you arrive. The spaceship is actually quite easy to build. There are multiple parts to be built in multiple steps, but none of the materials required are particularly exotic. All the parts are put together on the NASA construction bench, which you will also need to build. The NASA bench is fairly tall, so the room you need to place it in will need to be at least 5 blocks tall. Once you have your rocket, you will also need a launch pad on which to place it. A 3x3 placement of launchpad blocks will automatically become a launch pad. At that point though, you will not be able to break it and move it anymore until after you have launched. We can now put our spaceship on the pad. We have a rocket and a launch pad now. It's time for the rocket to be fueled. You will need to find yourself an oil source and then tap it either with a pump or with a portable oil extractor. The oil then needs to go into a Buildcraft refinery to process it into fuel. There is also a Galacticraft refinery, but I have not tried using this one yet. Next, you will need a fuel loader in order to get the fuel into the rocket itself. The fuel loader takes the fuel either from buckets or from pipes. Once the fuel loader has both fuel and power, you press the load fuel button to load the rocket with fuel. How quickly this works depends on the amount of power being provided. If you go into your rocket and check your inventory, you can see how much fuel you've got going. Here we've got a communal oil well storing oil in ender tanks. Back at my house, I'm processing this oil in a refinery, and it's then being stored in 2 tanks. The main tank is used to fill the spaceship here on Earth, and the ender tank, which is used to access my fuel in space. That's the ship all sorted for now. Let's look at the equipment you'll need for yourself in space. You have 5 extra slots in your inventory for space gear. The oxygen mask, oxygen gear, 2 air tanks, and a parachute. The large air tanks are extremely easy to build, so I've never seen any use for the small or medium versions. You may as well take as much air with you as possible, and probably some spares. The power suits also have the option to be made airtight, so I don't actually need this oxygen mask anymore. The oxygen tanks, of course, do have to be filled with oxygen. You do that in an oxygen compressor. The compressor requires both power and air. You pump the air through oxygen pipes from an oxygen collector, which needs to be placed under leaf blocks, and also requires power. Now, with your ship all fueled up and your equipment ready, you are ready to go to the moon. Make sure you are prepared with a few things to take with you. In order to get back, you will need a fuel loader and a power source to refuel your rocket while you are on the moon. You will also want some decent armour and a good weapon, probably enchanted. If you arrive on the moon at night, you will be surrounded by many enhanced hostile monsters. Finally, you might want to bring with you some materials to begin construction of a moon base. With all that ready, right-click on your rocket to get in, and then press space to launch. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Once we're in orbit, we're given this menu to choose where in space we want to land. We want to go to the moon, and then you click Send to Dimension. Hold space to slow down. But you don't want to slow down to a complete stop. Once we've landed, right-click to get out. On the moon, by default, it automatically puts you into third-person view. To get back to normal, press F5 a couple of times. Your lander acts like a chest and will include your leftover fuel, a rocket launch pad, and a spaceship, which you'll need to get home again. You want to take all your stuff out of the lander and then destroy it. Otherwise, next time you land, you will end up overlaid on top of the old one, causing a few issues. Our moon base is off down this tunnel. It's still under construction at the moment, and there is not really a lot to see here yet. I'm planning to build a dome over this at some point. Mostly what we have here is experiments in oxygen generation, but that's the topic of the next video, so I'm not going to go into those now. Outside, there is the whole moon to explore, aliens and monsters to find, and cheese to mine. I'll leave that for you to explore yourself, though. I will mention, though, that on our server at least, meteors are not currently spawning, so we had to use op commands to get some for our airlocks. Going home again is very much the same procedure. You place your launch pad. Oh. I'll fix that later. Or now even. Come here, you. Launch pad. You place your rocket. You fuel your rocket. And then you press space to launch. Back on Earth, you'll see what we needed the parachute for. And in this box, you should find your leftover fuel, your rocket launch pad, and your spaceship. That covers the basics of going to the moon. Click Bob in the bottom left to go back to the video menu, or click here to learn about oxygen generation on the moon.